Ravens fans, we got to catch the Browns. Why? We're about 1,000 subscribers short. So if you love the Baltimore Ravens, if you hate losing to the Cleveland Browns, though usually y'all win, go ahead and subscribe, youtube.com/RavensTV. And coming up here on today's show, we got some news and rumors. And to make sure that you don't miss anything the entire season, go ahead and hit that sub button. Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports, and coming up here on today's show, we're going to look at some Ravens injury news, and there was definitely a major injury to one of the star cornerbacks in the NFL, and at the end of today's show, we're going to be breaking down the NFL playoff picture. I'm going to look at the AFC North standings. We're going to run through every single divisional team's overall, remaining schedule, and we're going to try to predict who's going to win that overall division. Now, here was a tweet that came out yesterday from NFL insider Ian Rappaport. Ravens star cornerback Marlon Humphrey is suspected to be out for the season with a shoulder injury per sources, a significant blow to Baltimore's defense. Another one, right? And I hate saying it in the DJ Khaled voice, but it is absolutely another one. And today, head coach John Harbaugh came out and said it's not a shoulder, it's a pec injury for Humphrey, and he's actually going to be out the remainder of the season. And you want to talk about a team that's just been dealing with major injury after major injury. I mean, before the season even started, you lose your top 3 running backs. Then you lose your second cornerback in Marcus Peters. And now you're going to be without Marlon Humphrey, who has 55 tackles, an interception, 13 pass breakups. And when you look at the completion percentage of 53.2, I really think he's one of the best young cornerbacks in the league, and I don't really think there's going to be anybody else out there that disagrees with that. I personally have him in my top 5, but if anybody has him outside the top 10, then they don't really watch a lot of football, because the one thing I always give Humphrey credit for, he's the perfect Baltimore Ravens corner. He's a tough, physical dude. He can line up one-on-one, and realistically, you can almost take away an entire side of the field. And the fact that this team is 8-4, it really shows how great he's been, but a major loss to this defense. Another injury to be able to keep you guys up to date is Patrick MEKARI, and he left the game with a hand injury. This has just actually been one of those dudes. He's been dealing with a bunch of different injuries, and he's going to be out a couple weeks. And one of the reasons why I told you early on in the show to hit that sub button, if we get any more news, any more information, guess what? We're going to keep you guys up to date. So sub for some Ravens dubs and for some news. Now, I understand the Ravens, man, you can't catch a break, and if you're sick and tired of all the injuries, I want you to spam, why me? Like, why the heck are all these injuries happening? Because at the end of the day, if you're an NFL purist, you want to see the most talent out there as humanly possible. So I want the Ravens to be healthy, and I want to see some more, good football, because when football's bad, you also hear about it. So go ahead and spam, why me? Now, one of the things that we also do here at Chat Sports, which I actually think is one of our stronger segments, if you will, is replacement. So when a major player goes down, NFL teams, they have to look themselves in the mirror, and they're like, all right, how are we going to try to replace Marlon Humphrey? Now, obviously, Marlon Humphreys, they don't grow on trees, and realistically, you're never going to be able to replace somebody as talented as him, but you have to try, right? So here's what the Ravens cornerback depth chart looks like as it stands right now. I mean, you're going to have to look for somebody like Anthony Everett to really step up. Tavon Young in the nickel. You got Caval Seymour as well. But this team is definitely no surprise to a ton of injuries. I mean, look at all the guys that are hurt. Look at all these players on IR. It's definitely pretty frustrating. Your other option is potentially upgrading, I guess is the word, some of these practice squad cornerbacks like Robert Jackson, Kevin Tolliver, Mazzy Wilkins. You're not really going to be too excited about the production that you're going to get from those players, but you could potentially do that, or you could go out and sign another cornerback, and this is actually probably the route that I believe that Baltimore should go ahead and do so. So coming up here on today's show, you're going to see some corners, at least in terms of the top overall cornerbacks left out on the free agent market. Who knows? Maybe Earl Thomas? No, I'm kidding. I know, he plays safety. But here's some free agent corners that are out there, and there's 4 big names in terms of still guys that might be able to get it done. And if you're looking for a veteran presence, Gareon Conley, former first round pick by the Las Vegas Raiders, I believe back in 2017. He's dealt with a few injuries here and there, but Conley could at least be a dude where maybe you pick up the phone and give him a call. The number 1 corner that I would call if I was Baltimore would be Quinton Dunbar. And Dunbar, I mean, just 2 years ago, he was up there with actually, I thought, one of the best cornerbacks in all of football. Now, though, it's been a little bit of a bumpy road. He's already been released by the Detroit Lions, and anytime you're released by the Lions, I can't imagine it's that good of a situation. But now maybe you could also go ahead and maybe sign some other cornerbacks on practice squads, but we're just talking about some free agent cornerbacks right now. So should the Ravens go out and sign a cornerback, I want you to go ahead and type Y for yes or N for no. If you're like, no, man, I think they're okay, type the N for no. If you're like, Mitch, I really think that this team needs to add another corner, and I think that they actually do, type Y for yes and go ahead and give me maybe somebody that you're thinking about. The next name coming up here is Dre Kirkpatrick, and Kirkpatrick at this point is definitely getting up there in age, not quite what he used to be, and he might be a little bit more of an inside cornerback, but 66.0% completion percentage last season, 2 touchdowns, 7 pass breakups, 3 interceptions. So Kirkpatrick, another former first-round pick, had his best years, I would probably say, with the Cincinnati Bengals. And then the last corner that I'm going to go ahead and bring up here is Prince Amukamara. And when I think about Prince, I really think of a pretty shut-down cornerback for the Chicago Bears. Got signed by the Las Vegas Raiders last season, ended up not making the overall roster. But this guy hasn't played since 2019. But if you want to take a dart throw, if you want to take a shot on somebody who's a little bit more physical, you could do that. But here's the other underlying issue. It's NFL Week 14, okay? There's not a lot of options at this point, and for some of those names out there that you're like, oh, wait, there's some pretty recognizable names, and you're right, there are. But you have to also think about this. They're still free agents for a reason, right? So here's some other free agents as well. You got Daryl, Worley, Gareon LeBlanc, and then DJ Hayden. DJ Hayden's like 100 years old. He's super washed up. Daryl Worley, if you want to know what his play should remind you of, I want you to drop your toast in a toaster and just let it cook as long as it can and wait until the smoke alarms goes off, because that's what Daryl Worley reminds me of. He's absolutely burnt toast. I'm telling y'all right now, you don't want any of these 3 guys right here. So let me know down in the comment section, y'all, which of these corners should the Ravens go out and sign? If you're like, Mitch, I don't want any of those guys, it's okay. It's part of the gig, right? But when you have the amount of injuries that the Ravens have sustained, sooner or later you got to make a move. And if they do make a move, don't worry, we're going to keep you guys up to date here, so make sure you subscribe. Let's go ahead and let's catch the Browns YouTube channel. Let's catch our Steelers YouTube channel as well. If you are one of our loyal subs, just know that we appreciate you here at Chat Sports. Take the link that you see below, send it to a Ravens fan. Hell, send it to 5 or 10. All right, let's now look at the AFC playoff picture, and right now as it stands, remember the Bills and the New England Patriots, they're playing on Monday Night Football. If Buffalo wins, they actually get bumped up. And then the New England Patriots, they actually slide down to the number 5 seed here. But what you guys care about, obviously, is the Ravens sitting at 8-4. And after a very disappointing performance, losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers 20-19, where you guys gave up 17 points in the fourth quarter, that's simply not getting it done. However, here's the good news. You're still obviously first place in the AFC North. You still control your own destiny. And with all these injuries, I don't know if they're still the top team out there, because sooner or later the injuries do rack up. I'm still going to put my money on Baltimore winning this division, but you got the Cincinnati Bengals at 7-5, the Pittsburgh Steelers 6-5-1, the Cleveland Browns at 6-6. So do you think the Ravens are going to win the division? If you do, go ahead and like the video. Let's roll through some of these NFL, or I guess not NFL, division rivals. You got the Cincinnati Bengals. Here's their remaining schedule. Currently at 7-5. How many games do you see them winning? I see them beating the 49ers. I see them beating the Broncos. I think that the Bengals lose to the Ravens. I think they lose to the Chiefs. And I think they take care of business up against the Cleveland Browns. All right, so you're sitting there at 10-7. Let's go to the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Thursday night football game up against the Minnesota Vikings. That, to me, is a win. I'm going to go ahead and say that they beat the Titans, because I don't see Derrick Henry playing. Without Henry, the Titans are a totally different team. And then I see the Steelers losing to the Chiefs. I actually have the Steelers losing to the Browns. And then up against the Ravens, I'm not going to do it to y'all. I am going to go ahead and pick Baltimore. So I'm trying to do the math here in my head. That's what, 8 wins? Okay, let's now go to the Browns, who are currently sitting here at 6-6. I think you lose to the Ravens. You probably beat the Raiders. You lose to the Packers. At Pittsburgh, I'll say that's a loss. Then against the Bengals, that's a loss. So realistically, if you're Baltimore, you control your own destiny. And if you want to win this division, I believe the magic number is 3. You got to win 3 out of your next 5 games. Here's the issue. It's not an easy slate of games. I think you take care of business up against Cleveland. I don't have you beating the Packers. I don't even know if you're going to be able to take care of business against the Bengals. Will you beat the Rams? Will you beat the Steelers? I really, truly believe the magic number here is 3 games, and you go ahead and you win this division. But it starts in Week 14 up against the Cleveland Browns. So let me know, guys, who you got down in the comments section below. Want you to go ahead and type BAL for the Baltimore Ravens, type CLE for the Cleveland Browns, and if you want to be an overachiever and predict the score, I definitely won't be mad.